The next team we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers finished with the sixth seed in the East, which is underachieving considering the talent that they have. 43 and 30. They lost to the Celtics 4-0 in the first round. Simmons didn't play that series. And I think the most important thing that the Sixers did this offseason was that they brought in shooters. Danny Green, Seth Curry. They traded Al Horford which everybody was begging for them to do. They got Terrence Ferguson in the deal as well. And they traded Josh Richardson. So they're losing Horford and Josh Richardson, but they're bringing in Seth Curry and Danny Green. So I mean, and they had arguably one of the best drafts, drafting Tyrese Maxey, Isaiah Joe, Isaiah Joe. So I mean, they're you know, we should have, I guess, higher expectations, but I think for the past years we've always had these grandiose expectations for the Sixers, and they always disappoint. So now this season, I don't think they're coming into the season with much expectations because we've already kind of been numb to them disappointing us. So now they're kind of a team that we're not really paying much attention to, and I think that might benefit them. I mean, Brett Brown is fired, Doc Rivers is coming in, and we've seen in the past with the Clippers and the Celtics when he has a great off the ball, when he has a great shooter who can play off the ball, like a Ray Allen, like a JJ Redick, he maximizes them, and he could probably do the same thing for Seth Curry in this system.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go, Rick.
Yeah. Philly is an interesting team. They still have the same two core guys. Ben Simmons probably is going to come into the season still not being able to shoot, and Joel is going to come into the season still being a very dominant center. But I do like the pieces. I think Seth Curry is going to be good. I think Danny Green, along with the inconsistencies in the playoffs, he's still going to be a good player, 3-and-D player. I think Matisse Thybulle, I don't think if you named him, but he's going to be really good this year defensively, and he's able to hit the three ball. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to have a big role this year along with Shake Milton. I think he's also a really good player that's going to get it going. He's a 44% three-point shooter, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this team is built pretty solid. It's just going to come down to health. And I think health is going to be a concern. And, of course, Ben Simmons' improvement. And that's all this team has been predicated. I think their last great moment was losing in 7 to Toronto. I think that was their best time to really make a run. I think that team was able to maybe possibly go to the championship. So this team, I don't have many expectations, but I think they're going to be competitive throughout the year like they always are. But I don't expect anything big in the playoffs for them. I think I have them as a 5th, 6th seed. Highest is 3rd or 4th. I don't have much expectations for this team, though.
They also got Dwight Howard for whatever.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Dwight.
So they got Dwight Howard as well.
It's pretty frustrating because as a Net fan, I was inclined to hate the Sixers last year after how they knocked us out of the playoffs. But as a basketball fan, you cannot deny the potential of what this team can bring. You look at this lineup, and honestly, on paper, they could be one of the most talented teams in all of basketball. But it's just, can they put it together? It just seems like it's another offseason. It's another Ben Simmons is working on his 3-ball rumor. Is that finally going to come true this season? I have a hard time believing that because we heard the same thing last year and he came out and he attempted 1-3 and you didn't see it again the rest of the season. So I don't know if I trust his work ethic, but I think they made spectacular moves this season to maximize what they have. Brett Brown was not the guy. So first of all, getting rid of him was automatically a plus. And you bring in a guy like Doc Rivers, who I get it with his playoff struggles and the Sixers playoff struggles. It's a strange marriage, but you know, he maximizes talent in the regular season and playoffs. You worry about that when you get there. Maybe this can be the team that Doc meshes with, like that Celtics team that he took to a championship, and they figure it out. But I think just personnel-wise, they did a great job this offseason. You mentioned the name. Seth Curry, one of the most accurate three-point shooters in all of basketball. Tyrese Maxey, getting him in the draft, I thought was the steal of the draft. I spoke about it on draft night. Kentucky guards, you're guaranteed to hit on what seems like one a year, and I think they found the one. He's been playing great in the preseason, and I think he's going to do a better job in that Shake Milton role than Shake Milton did towards the end of the season last year, and he was so important for them. So it was addition by subtraction, getting rid of Al Horford and replacing him with Dwight Howard for $20 million less a year. So now you look at a starting lineup this season, potentially of Ben Simmons. I would probably put Danny Green at the 2, Tybalt at the 3, Tobias Harris at the 4, Embiid at the 5. And then coming off the bench, you have guys like Dwight Howard, Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, even Furkan Korkmaz, who shot the ball really well for them last year, Mike Scott, who can shoot the ball nicely. They really did a good job filling out this roster with the talent that you need to work around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So I think they got better this offseason. The question is Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid finally going to play to their potential and mesh? It's a big question mark, but I don't know why, but I'm betting on it again. I think they're going to be a really nice team this season.
In my opinion, I don't think Tybalt starts. I think you start Simmons, Green, Curry, Harris, and Embiid. Because Tybalt, he's a great defender, but he's a streaky 3-point shooter. I think you need to surround Embiid and Simmons with as much shooting as possible, because both of them don't offer it at a great level. So, and Simmons doesn't offer it at all, and Embiid takes too much. That's what he's criticized on. So I think you have to surround them with shooters, snipers around there. I think Curry and Danny Green are snipers. Tobias, he's up and down. He's up and down. He's pretty. He's an average 3-point shooter. So yeah, I think I wouldn't start Thybulle. I'd put him on the bench. I don't know if Tyrese Maxey's he's gonna earn more minutes than Shake Milton. I think Shake Milton has.
I think he's playing both.
Now. Yeah, you probably could, because they don't really have a real point guard, so you probably could. But yeah, and then you have Korkmaz, who's good, Dwight, who's good, and Daryl Morey. I mean, Daryl Morey, he's not afraid to pull the trigger on any move. And if James Harden becomes available this season, which he is right now, maybe Daryl Morey sees the opportunity to trade for Harden and he'll offer Ben Simmons, or maybe Houston just gets desperate and you can get Harden for Tobias Harris or something like that. So
that would be such a robbery.
Yeah, I mean, if Houston gets desperate, you never know what can happen. If I'm Philly, I try to keep Simmons and trade for Harden, and if that's not available, then I'll just keep Simmons. That's just me, because I think getting Harden and swapping him for Simmons, now you have guys you got guys like Harden, Seth Curry, and Tobias Harris, who aren't great defenders. Simmons, yeah, he's not even close to the offensive player that Harden is, but he's an elite defender. On ball, in the interior, off the ball, he's an elite defender, and I think Philly can't afford to lose a player like that, given their roster construction.
I don't think Houston. I think Houston is being pretty patient with this process. I think they're going to just ride it out. I think they're looking at the roster, getting Ben Simmons. I don't know, because they have John Wall there, so I don't know how that's going to go. If they get Ben Simmons, I'm going to bank on the fact that John Wall's probably going to be gone down the road too. But
I think you could play them together.
You think so?
You can hypothetically play Ben Simmons at like the 3 or maybe even the 4.
Yeah, it won't be highly successful, but I think you can play them together.
I mean, yeah, you could probably play him because he's played the 5 before, so you could probably throw him at the 5. I would probably roll out of Ben Simmons, like you said, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green at the 3. You could throw Tobias at the 4 and Embiid at the 5. I'll probably play Tyrese at the 1. Shake can play the 2. At the 3, Matisse Thybulle, you got Scott and Dwight Howard. It's going to be because they have – I don't know how they're going to – because they don't have a true point guard on the bench. So you're not going to get a guy who's going to set up Furkan, who, he likes to come off screen. I don't know. I've seen Maxey play. He's more of a scorer than playmaker. That was more Ashton Hagen and Emmanuel Quickly. Whenever they playmakers, Maxey's more of a scorer. But I do think this team has a lot of offense. I think this team could definitely get it going on the offensive end. It's just defensively, how are they going to play off when those plus defenders come out, like Danny Green, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and they're just stuck with Matisse Thybulle in the lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, I have them finishing with the 5th seed in the East this season.
Same. Yeah.
I think they can be as high as 2 if everything clicks. If Simmons he takes a big leap, but I can also see them finishing as low as 6 or 7 if things go really wrong. But I have them at 5. That's where I have them finishing.
I had the same exact thing. I have them at 5. I could see them as high as 3 or as low as 6, or in a doomsday scenario 7. But I really like the talent that they've assembled. I think they're going to have a solid year, and I do think that they're a threat come playoff time. A lot of people are counting them out. I could see them making a lot of teams' lives difficult in the playoffs.
Boom. I have them probably at like the fourth seed, depending on health of other teams. I can see them going in between 4 to 6. I think they're going to be pretty well successful throughout the regular season. Come playoff time, I think they'll make any team outside of Boston, because I feel like Boston's had their number on multiple years. So I think any team outside of Boston and Brooklyn and Milwaukee, I think they can make it a series. But I don't really know realistically. I don't see anybody in the top heavy that they can beat outside of Toronto, maybe. Other than that, I don't really see them beating anybody.